And we're live. Welcome to Cars and Popcorn, episode 6. We've made it to episode 6. Today we're talking Death Proof, and my guest today, I'll jump right into introductions. Host of the Tech Podcast, Cory Williams. How you doing today?
I'm doing okay. It's all good.
All right, so I start this show every time with 2 simple questions, and that's what made you pick this movie for the show, and what's your favorite car from the movie?
Okay, the first one is a complicated question. It actually has a couple parts. I went to see Grindhouse when it came out, and all the commercials in Grindhouse were about terror. They showed absolutely nothing from Death Proof. So when I went in, like, Planet Terror was such a hot movie that I was like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of done. And then Death Proof comes on. I'm like, I don't know anything about this movie. Tarantino, he's very talky. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm good. But then there's this big car chase at the end, and I'm like, I was not expecting that when he pulled the trigger on that. Well, that's what this was about. Okay, all right. And it was considerably shorter in the Grindhouse cut. But I was kind of glad that they lengthened it up. Anyway, then there's another thing. This is what made me love the movie and the cars and stuff. I had to drive. My sister and her husband were driving us across Arizona one night. Went to sleep, and her husband wasn't the talky type. So me and my wife had my laptop, and we watched Death Proof in the middle of a moving car. And I swear to God, that is more exciting than skydiving. Because it was black on those roads, and we had a great time just being scared. It's like watching Airport 79 on an airplane. It's just you are really sort of psyching yourself out.
I watched Top Gun on an airplane, and it was pretty awesome. But continue.
Yeah, it has a certain frisson, right? But my favorite car is, of course, the Chevy Nova big Death Proof car with the death box in it.
Pulling that photo up now. So yeah,
I love a car that isn't just a car.
There we are. And the hood ornament's awesome. That just the Nova itself it embodies the sleeper, the classic sleeper, just that beat up looking car the skull on the hood kind of gives it away, but it's a bratty old Nova, and you don't expect it to be this honking stunt car.
Yeah. And see, for me, I like I told you before, like, I'm legally blind. Cars are not my thing because I'll never drive, so it's a testament to how kind of awesome this movie is that it got me into car movies for a while. Like, I went back and watched Vanishing Point and Dirty Mary, Crazy, all the ones they talk about in the movie. I went back and watched those movies, and they're very fun movies. But I never would have gone back to watch them if not for Death Proof.
And it's funny you bring that up, because that's one of the reasons I think this movie is incredibly Tarantino, because they reference a ton of car movies with this film, and like almost every Tarantino film, it's an homage to the car film.
Oh yeah.
Like they mentioned I think they mentioned Bullet at least once. They obviously brought up Vanishing Point when they were looking at the 70 Challenger. They brought up Gone in 60 Seconds, which I have a beef with them there. The remake is fantastic. I hate that opinion that the original is the only one. Both have their merits.
Well, that's Tarantino. Tarantino loves the 70s.
He does.
you have to sort of give him a little leeway there. I don't think he's talking smack about the remake. I think he's just saying he likes the original better.
That's fair. That was the funny part about that was one time I was messing around on Reddit on the Ask Reddit subthread, and one of the questions was, what's the movie that you can watch over and over again and never get tired of? And I just simply said Gone in 60 Seconds. I did not specify the remake, and in typical Reddit fashion, the first comment was, "Do yourself a favor and go back and watch the original."
Oh yeah.
And my first thought was, I didn't specify it was the remake. You don't know I'm talking about the new one.
They knew though. They got you though. That's the thing. They did get you.
That's true. I didn't respond to that for that reason, but I don't feel like getting into a flame war. So the ironic part about that is I'm bringing up a picture of the 72 Mustang that the girls in the second half drive. We'll get to this whole first half, second half thing later, but the fun fact about that one is another homage to the car culture, car movies past. The original Gone in 60 Seconds does feature a yellow 72 Mustang, and that was the original Eleanor.
Oh, that was the original one right there? Oh.
This particular one wasn't Eleanor, but the original was yellow. Did not have stripes though.
That's cool.
So it was just one of those little Tarantino bits of homage to classic movies that he loves to do so much. So this movie, when I watch this kind of breaks down to two halves, and it starts out with the half with your favorite car that's more of Tarantino's style, which was what I like to call the Nova half. And it was kind of more of a horror movie at that time, and he was kind of like that classic slasher at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Beginning, you see originally him going head on into the Civic, which I also have a picture of. You see him basically attacking people with this death-proofed Nova, which I did find, because of your recommendation, the story behind the name Death Proof. I don't know if you would like to tell the story or not. No, I know there's some cool history.
You go ahead. Because I'm not exactly sure.
So the interesting history behind that was Tarantino was talking about buying a car with I think it was one of his stunt crew, and he was talking about getting a Volvo because he didn't want to die in a crash, is some paraphrased words. And if you give a stunt team any car, they're going to death proof it for 10 to 15,000. And by that's where Tarantino got the idea for the name of Death Proof and basically the entire first half of this movie.
Nice.
Little interesting tidbit of that history, and I can actually bring up a picture of the interior of this car where you see the death-proofed work. Pretty standard stunt crew modifications. You have chassis reinforcements, that massive roll cage. In some scenes, this isn't the official car, but in most of the scenes, he has a 4 or 5 point harness. Couldn't tell which because you didn't really see the lower half. But when the part that bothered me, I know the girl had a lot of drinks at the beginning, but if you see a car with this interior, why are you getting in it?
Yeah, I've always thought that. Yeah.
There's a plexiglass barrier between you and the driver. How do you not just like turn back and say, I'm gonna go back into the bar now?
Yeah, I'm okay.
That's not really a seat down there. That something bad is about to happen to you in this vehicle.
Yeah, well, in fairness, the like when the cops are listing the stuff at the end after the murder, the cops are laying it down that like this is this guy was absolutely clean according to evidence. Like he didn't drink a damn drop all night. He did all the stuff you're supposed to do to be a responsible citizen. So there was that.
Yeah, I mean, he was being responsible that night, but still, also plexiglass barriers in a stunt car, I don't think is the best idea in the world. I watch a lot of hockey, which I'm sure that's the kind of glass they use, and that stuff can break.
Oh yeah.
And that's gonna be a bad day if you flip the car and next thing you know you got plexiglass all over. But you mentioned the no drinking part, and the scene where we meet Kurt Russell, aka Stuntman Mike. Man, between this and Big Trouble in Little China, is there anyone that does a better John Wayne than Kurt Russell?
No, just no. Robin Williams.
I don't remember that actually.
From Dead Poet Society. Oh, is this a dagger I see before me? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But that's the company he's in. Like that's the caliber he's in.
No doubt. That's classic '80s Kurt Russell there, even though it's pretty much brand new. Hey, we got Sam in the chat. Sweet.
Right above Jungle Julia, when they're sitting at the restaurant, right above Jungle Julia's head is the tank top with the sun or whatever from Big Trouble in Little China.
I saw that on some of the trivia on IMDb, but I didn't catch it in the movie.
I caught it because I knew it was there. Because I read it in trivia.
I'm
not claiming that I was the eagle-eyed one.
Makes sense then. So the first half is basically just him going after. We're basically setting up Stuntman Mike with the first half by showing this death-proof car, which I mean that's pretty legitimate. Chassis reinforcements, roll cage, everything you need for the impending flip that does happen after he smashes into the group of girls Honda Civic. For me, there's not a whole lot remarkable about the first half. I don't know if you had anything to talk about.
Not about the first half in particular, except my ex-wife was very funny in the theater. Her leg came off. That's what she said.
I didn't know the order that these were shown in the Grindhouse movie. I was wondering if that character comes back in what was it, Planet Terror. Does that have anything to do with the one leg?
Oh no. But this is the second movie. So it's very much zombie killing. Oh, Quentin Tarantino's going to talk for a half hour. But it did recover. I'm just saying.
Little did you know that he would only talk for about 20 minutes of it.
Right.
The last thing I kind of wanted to know was just a weird thing that my brain picks up on. I noticed when the car was first pulling up and we first see the Nova, you got some big, wide, thick drag tires back here. And in other scenes, we go right back to normal stock tires. Just something I noticed as we switch between the stunt car and whatever the visual car was supposed to be. I think the stunt car was on regular tires, whereas the show car was the one on drag tires.
Yeah, there's a reading of this film where the first half, people think that the first half is one of his movies, and then the second half he tries to go out and do it on his own, which is not my reading of the movie, but there is a reading of the movie like that, where it's like the first part is just his movie that he's in, and then the second part is him trying to do it on his own, and he gets killed.
Yep. So yeah, you jumped right into the second part, which I would call the Charger half. He trades up because the '69 Charger, one of my favorite cars, to an absolutely beautiful matte black one. Pulling up now. Here's a replica of it. Beautiful matte black.
That's a great car.
'69 Charger. Thing was great, and the second half is where I think we meet the true villains of this movie. That horrible group of women. As Kurt Russell was in the first half, I feel like we got to talk about the fact that they sacrificed Mary Elizabeth Winstead to drive a car.
Well, I've had this argument before, and see, in the first half, the women do not work together whatsoever. They are constantly quipping and backbiting and all that. But the second group, they get rid of their dead weight. That's what they do, because she's not very smart, that one. And,
not particularly, no.
And they don't let the second group do not let the smart one be the leader, or the stupid one be the leader. I mean, they do not let the stupid one be the leader. They get rid of the stupid one and go have fun. So I mean, they are kind of villainous in that respect, but they're being smart.
And that's why they trade in trade her in to drive what I guess was their dream car, the white 1970 Challenger, just like the one from Vanishing Point. This was actually taken from Vanishing Point, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone talk about Vanishing Point more than in this, except for maybe Top Gear. So I was surprised how much Tarantino loved Vanishing Point. Vanishing
Point's awesome. It's awesome.
It is. It was one of those movies where it's a 4-year-old movie, so spoilers aren't that big a deal. But the end really surprised me in that movie. Mm. So I was happily surprised to see Tarantino so happy about Vanishing Point.
Well, the thing is people remember like Smokey and the Bandit, right? And Smokey and the Bandit was a culmination of a lot of other movies of that type. All those movies that Quentin Tarantino are talking about, Smokey and the Bandit was the Hollywood sort of realization of those movies, and we only kind of remember Smokey and the Bandit now, as we do whenever Hollywood co-opted.
So even though we've since remade Vanishing Point, I think twice now, we still only remember Smokey and the Bandit.
Well, I mean, in general, your average sort of non-movie fan that likes movies.
True enough. So after we meet this Challenger and they sacrifice Mary's character, I don't even remember her name. They sacrifice her to the mumbling guy from Adam Sandler movies, of all people. They basically trade her body in for a test drive of this car, and I don't think they have any intention on bringing it back, considering what they get into, because at that point we get into the fantastic climactic car chase we'll see here with Zoe Bell's character Zoe, ironically, strapped to the hood of the car with two belts, perfectly safe, riding around on the hood for some reason. I guess to feel the vibrations.
No, dude. I used to do that. People were like, nobody will do that, and I did that when I was younger, just because you're going fast. It's like you're going fast, and it's dangerous and all that stuff. It's fun. And
this chase spoke to me more than anything, because right now I'm more of a Chevy guy, but for 70s cars, Mopars are king. They're the coolest. They're some of the fastest. There's so many different engine options, and these two were the kings. They're beautiful cars. They're so fast, so loud, And it was wonderful to see two of these in a chase and no Mustangs. It's so cliche for every car chase to include a Mustang or include a Chevy, but no, Tarantino goes all Mopar, and I love that.
Yeah, he called this the Battle of the Dodges.
And it was, and again, great name for it. Little thing I noticed that they were. She was when Zoe was on the hood screaming, "I'm scared! I'm scared!" At some point during the chase, she had the option to apply the brakes and let her in.
I know. But that would have sucked. So
Anyway, so they go through this massive car chase, and Kurt Russell gets out in a wonderful Kurt Russell voice, says, "Ladies, that was fun."
It was fun.
That's when you see like the cruelty of these ladies. That's when they get real mad, and they don't decide to take the Challenger back. I think that ship has sailed at this point. At this point, I don't think they have any intent on bringing the Challenger back. So they decide to go chase after Kurt Russell, who has no idea this is going to happen. They shoot. I think they catch him. They clip him in the arm, and then you kind of start to see Kurt Russell. You start to humanize him. At the first half, Stuntman Mike was kind of a myth, kind of that slasher guy. And next thing you know, you see him crying about a bullet wound. Really just humanized him.
Mm. But to be fair to the ladies, them's neighborhood rules. You go screwing with somebody, and they can beat you. Turnabout's fair play. You try to run them off the road.
This is true. I mean, you can't just basically wreck a beautiful looking 70 Challenger and then say, "Oh, I was just playing around."
I was just playing. Oh, you were just playing? Well, we're not playing.
Well, that was. But then they catch up to him, basically beat the crap out of him, and again, not something you would really expect from this kind of car chase movie, because a lot of them end in a big car wreck, a big fire, but this ended with them kicking his ass.
Oh yeah, really well too. They hit him so hard the film stops, which there's a lot of that in Grindhouse, because part of Grindhouse's gimmick was like you could hear it was showing how the old film broke. Like that's through Planet Terror. In the original cut, lap dance was cut out. It basically says this part has been, there is missing footage here. It has one of those signs from like an old 70s theater. So there's a lot of that. But when she hits him, bam, the film just goes. I love that. As a film nut who grew up sort of around Grindhouse theater, I love that.
Yeah, that was great. And I don't think I've seen a better, as weird as it sounds, a circle beating than it remind me a bit of Shaun of the Dead, but without the sweet "Don't Stop Me Now" song to it. Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to mention about death-proofing cars during that car chase. Towards the end, I believe they knock into the Charger, and the Charger goes flipping multiple times. And at that point, watching the flip happen, I'm thinking he's got to thank the gods of roll cages for that this car is death-proofed.
Oh yeah, that would have been over.
That's the importance of roll cages, kids. These cars are in fact very safe with the roll cages and harnesses, but they're not death-proof.
I always said even before Death Proof, I'm like, the car I want is a 1953 Buick Sabre. And I said that because you could drive that thing into a brick wall and walk away with a broken fingernail. Primer gray too, just to let you know I'm coming.
Oh man, that's what era was Saber? Because they got really bland at the end.
Well, I said 1953. I want a 1953. It's
Yeah,
basically a big block of metal.
Yeah, anything from the 50s is basically going to chop through a modern car.
Yep. There's that line from Back to the Future. Well, we should hit him with the car. Like, we're the DeLorean. He cut through us like we were in tinfoil.
Pretty much, man. Those cars are big, heavy steel. I'm talking to Sam here to see if he wants to join in and play some trivia with you. So we're gonna try and
free victory, man. My trivia sucks with cars, so if you want a free win,
let's try and peer pressure him here. But let's see. Anything else you wanted that you kind of noticed from Death Proof?
I just would like to say I really love the ending song, which I know music isn't your thing with the cars, but I do love that last song. It's a classic.
Refresh my memory. It's been a few days. What song was playing?
It's Chick Habit by April Martin. Hey, be Chick Habit.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah, I mean the music in this movie, just like almost any other Tarantino movie, is pretty much top notch, and it doesn't really get in the way like it does in some of his other films, which is good.
If you want a real true music experience, go watch the original Grindhouse, because Robert Rodriguez has his own band who does the music for Planet Terror too.
Like, is Robert Rodriguez in the band?
Yeah, Chingun. That's his band. He does the closing song for Kill Bill Part 2 as well.
Huh. I did not know that. Good for him.
Yeah.
Still peer pressuring Sam here, so. All right. So the second part of Death Proof is really, to me, what made the movie, because the first half is exceedingly Tarantino. Especially, I forgot to point out during our talk for the first half how obnoxious that Tarantino cameo was in the first part.
I don't mind.
As obnoxious as as director or creator cameos have gotten, even that's Stan Lee level obnoxious right there. But it was kind of funny that he sends the drinks over, comes over with them, just as creepy as possible.
I love that. I love that thing though. I've got nothing against it. The only beverage so good they need a cooler after it.
Sorry, I was typing in the chat here because we are live, so we're having these weird stop gaps.
Right.
So the fact that, again, I go back to the fact that we have the Mustang introduced in the second half, and I love the fact that we go to it and then immediately drop it for a sweet Mopar.
that is yeah, I didn't even think about that when I watched it, but definitely that is in its favor. I like that he brings in the Mustang like this is going to be the chase. No, it ain't. It's going away now.
I find it interesting that Tarantino can somehow start out with a trope and then untrope it like that. He's done that in several of his movies, but the fact that he just undoes the normal car chase trope was fantastic to me.
And I like that. I like that it starts off with them being chased, but then they become the ones who are chasing. Like Heisenberg, I'm the one who chases.
I'm the one who knocks.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't they chase him? They're in the better car. The Challenger is a lighter version of the Charger, so just go. And plus, I think at that point they had taken less damage. Hey, Sam's here.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, so Cory, do you have any final thoughts before we jump into trivia?
Yeah, I have one. That thought is, dear God, I'm horrible at car trivia. So let's go.
Well, I mixed in some Tarantino trivia along with the cars, so let's jump right into it. Okay. So question one, we'll send it to Cory since you're our guest of honor. First question, if you're familiar with the show, I have a lot of these, so I pretty much ask them every time. And that's having to do with the 1970 Dodge Challenger. At the point of release, how many engine options did it have?
Like V6, V8, stuff like that?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 3.
3, so the mark of the Mopars was they have a ton of engine options. And so the Challenger actually had a whopping 7.
Holy God.
They had 4 different V8s.
Wowie. Okay. All right.
Okay, so next we're going to go to Sam. This is an offshoot of that first question. So they drove the '69 Charger. How many engine options did that have?
Let's go with 5.
So close. The answer was 6, actually. All right, so we're gonna go away from that for a second and go back to Cory. So this one's more about the film. So what car is featured on the DVD cover and on the poster, but was not actually in the film?
Oh my God, I used to know this. Yeah, I don't know it anymore. I have no clue.
Specifically, it was a 1967, but it was a Chevy Camaro.
Yeah,
Camaro did not.
That's right.
Camaro did not show up.
My answer would have been a black one.
I thought of it, but
I mean, many black ones showed up in the movie, so. All right, so Sam, this actually had something to do with what we talked about earlier. What iconic film was the girl's Mustang in Death Proof featured in?
Is it Vanishing Point?
That was the Challenger, but their Mustang was from the original Gone in 60 Seconds.
Right. I wasn't listening to that.
Fair enough. Okay. Cory. So we're gonna go back to the Charger from the second half. Let's see how well you know your classic TV, because the '69 Dodge Charger was made famous and made rare by what TV series?
Wait a minute. It's not My Mother the Car, although that would have been funny. Car 54? Was it Car 54?
Stand by. I'm going to fact check that one. Wasn't what I was thinking of, but let's see.
No, that wasn't.
So the answer was Dukes of Hazzard with the.
That's what I was going to say. I knew that.
General Lee.
Oh, I was thinking of something from the 60s. Okay, my bad.
Okay. Let's find a question for Sam here. Okay, we're gonna go back. We're gonna go to which car from this movie, in its top configuration, has the best quarter mile time? Would you, if you would like, I could give you multiple choice.
Yeah, multiple choice.
So at the beginning, they had the Chevy Nova. Then he switched to the Dodge Charger, and the girls in the second half drove a Mustang and a Challenger.
I'm gonna say the Charger.
The Charger was 0.7 seconds slower than the Challenger. Challenger was the fastest.
We're doing really well at this trivia thing.
Oh yeah. Can't all be winners.
Okay. I mean, you literally can't do worse than Billy's second effort at this, where he got none of the questions right. So it's literally not possible.
You're asking nerds about cars. That's what you're doing.
Yes, it's cruel. It's cruel and unusual, but oh well. I am cruel and
That's
unusual.
all good. I'm completely
Okay.
unapologetic.
So Corey, this one has more to do with Tarantino. Which build starring actor or actress in this movie is an actual member of Tarantino's usual stunt crew?
Zoe
And
Bell.
quick answer and then the correct answer. It was Zoe Bell. I believe she was actually surprised when she got a starring role rather than kind of an extra. I think she thought she was going to be an extra at first.
Yeah, she was Uma Thurman's stunt double in Kill Bill.
Yep. Okay. So Sam, we're going to go back to the engine options questions because we had a lot of cars available in this movie. Basically, at this point, guessing a number, but whatever. So how many engine options did the 1971 Chevy Nova have?
I'm gonna stick with 5. I was happy with my guess before at 5.
It'll
If
be
I
right
keep guessing it, eventually I'll be right.
Not this time, though. It's 3.
Well,
Okay, Corey, going to go back to the movie itself. So when the girls are talking in whatever restaurant they were in, and they were talking about buying a 1970 Dodge Challenger, what engine did they say it had to have?
8, I believe.
A little more specific?
340 or 380?
Close. The 440.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Which some could argue was the best engine it had. It wasn't the fastest in the quarter mile, but it was lighter than the Hemi. Little fun fact.
It's what it had in Vanishing Point.
Yep. All right, Sam. Last question. So the pain is over after this. And guess what? Another engine question.
yay!
5.
How many? I'll give you a hint. 5 is not the answer.
Oh,
How many engine options did the 1972 Mustang have?
4.
Close. The answer was 3. Same as the Nova. So Corey, you got one right. So you're better than Billy. Sam, you're right. Sam, you're right there with Billy.
Hooray!
So Corey, you have won the day. So again, thank you for being on the shows.
That is just so wrong. Okay.
Yeah, see, I'm a victim of circumstance because I would have got Dukes of Hazzard if that had been my question.
Fair enough. So Corey,
You've been
I'll give you the first plug. Is there anything you'd like to plug?
Well, I've been plugging this all week, but no, I'm the host of the Tech Podcast. Come see us on SoundCloud. We talk about Robotech every week, and I also am all over the game fixtures. I'm on Buck's Classics, colloquially known as Kim's Classics, and because that's still a thing. And you can find me all over the Game Pictures Network, and basically I'm just around now. I'm a YouTube sensation.
Most excellent. I am decidedly not a YouTube sensation, probably because I'm an asshole that keeps asking engine questions. So Sam,
you do you, man.
So Sam, thank you for stepping up. I know it's tough with these engine trivia questions, but do you have anything to plug, or where can we find you?
Well, you can find me generally in Australia. That's generally a good place to start.
Very specific, yes.
But if I probably should throw out a plug, I suppose, being a tough OG member, that I think Fan Friction's back next week. So everyone should check out the Tough Channel stuff and go and see what's happening with that, because I'm pretty sure we're back next week.
Yeah, it's popping up on my birthday.
Yep, I'll be in Chicago that day, but I'll definitely watch afterwards. So yeah, August 27th, I think, is when Fan Friction returns. So excited to be back. Hopefully, be back sometime that season. Wink, wink. So everybody watch that next week.
You got to talk to Jack about that. I'd try and get on myself. It's hard. He's got his plan that he doesn't even share with us. But yeah.
Yep, everyone wants to be on, and now he's starting to get big stars. So Billy Business is going to be on the first episode. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, with Mr. Joe Davis and Mr. Langley Neely, who are all fabulous people. So it should be fun. Yeah,
it's going to be a really great show. So we'll end on that note. You can find me on Twitter at RoadRaider3. Usually either talking about random crap I go through during the day or Screen Junkie stuff. You can find us here doing Cars and Popcorn every once in a while. I'm super sketchy on when I actually stream these. But like and subscribe. It'll actually inform you when I'm doing this little thing. All that other YouTube crap, comment, all those other things, whatever that does for life. And we'll see you next time in an indeterminate amount of time.
I'm still waiting for you to hit me up on when we're going to do our Chitty Chitty Bang Bang episode.
That'll have to happen. If I ever get to enough episodes, we will do that. It's on the list.
It's a great movie.
All right. Have a good day, everyone. We're going to